So let's try building an agentic workflow by using Langflow. So we will be building a simple agent and we will provide an URL and calculator as tools, and the agent decides which tool to use depending on the user input. So we learned how to download and install Langflow in the previous lecture, and you have to navigate to this URL to launch Langflow, right? So once you see this screen, then click on create first flow and then you will be redirected to the get started screen. So let me take you to Langflow. So like I said, you need to go to localhost 7860. This is the port number to launch Langflow, right? That's what we saw here. To open Langflow, go to http localhost 7860, right? So let me take you here. So you should see this get started screen once you click on new flow. And now our intent is to create a simple but powerful starter agent. So we will be building a simple agent by using this Langflow, that is the agent with URL and calculated tools, and the agent decides which tool to use depending on what we provide as an input. So select simple agent, then it opens a template similar to this one. So do not get scared by looking at this. We are building a simple agent here, and the agent uses two tools. The first one is the URL and the second one is the calculator tool, as you can see here. So this is the tool set, and if you see here URL tool, this is to, let me zoom in. So here you can see this URL tool is to fetch content from one or more web pages following links recursively, right? So the URL tool is used to fetch content from the web page. And the second one is the calculator tool. This is to perform arithmetic operations on a given expression. So we are providing URL tool and calculator tool to our agent. And let's try to close this. So if you click on this components, then this will be closed. And if you want, you can move around these components wherever you want as per your requirement. So why do we need these tools here? We need these two tools so we can pass them to the agent. And you can see here these two tools are being passed to our agent. And we already learned that agents use language models as their foundation, right? So let's define a model here. Let me zoom in again. So you can see you can use any model that you want depending on your need, right? So you have Anthropic, Google Generative AI, OpenAI, right? Or you can connect to other models as well. You can search here and connect to different models, right? For example, if you want to use Gemini, then select Google Generative AI, right? So you can see Gemini 1.5 Pro model has been selected here, and you can provide the API key. And let's say if you want to use OpenAI, so then you can select OpenAI, or you can select any other model providers as well from this list, right? So for our agent, we are providing two tools. The first one is URL and the second one is calculator, and the other input is the chart input. That is the input that we will be providing to our agent as a user input, right? But we already learned that an agent is nothing but a language model which has access to tools via prompt, right? And Langflow has an option to customize the code as well. So select the agent and click on code, right? So here you can see you can edit the code as well as per your need. So if you see here, you are providing the prompt here, right? So you are a helpful assistant that can use tools to answer questions and perform tasks, right? So you can see we are passing tools to the LLM via this prompt. So this is a simple agent, but if you want to make a React framework, then you need to mention thought, action, observation loop in the prompt itself, like we saw in our LangChain project, right? So when we built this LangChain project, if you notice the prompt here, we have provided thought, action and observation inside the prompt itself, right? So you can do that here as well. And let me close this. And we will be using OpenAI as our LLM. So we need to provide the API key as well. So I have added my key. So let me close this here. So what we are doing here, let me zoom in. Run an agent with URL and calculated tools available for its use, and then the agent decides which tool to use to solve a problem, right? So this is what we are trying to achieve. And then we also provided the OpenAI API key to our agent. And then what we have to do, open the playground and chat with the agent, right? So let me click on playground. So you can see default session and new chat has been opened, and you can see the new chat. Test your flow with a chat prompt. So here we have to provide the input. This is what the prompt I am providing. Go to the web page. So this is what iPhone 17 Pro. So I am telling the agent to go to this website and give me the summary. Also mention the tools you need to execute this task, right? So I'm asking the agent, what tools have you used, because we have two tools here, right? The first one is the calculator tool and the other one is the URL. So we want to know how the agent is using the tools, right? So click on send. So it is trying to execute the task. So you can see this is the input the user is provided, and this is what the agent is doing. Agent accessing fetch content. To summarize the web page at this, I will use the following tool, right? So you can see the agent is trying to complete the task execution, and it has completed the execution and provided us with the summary, right? So you can see it used GPT-4o mini model and it finished the execution, right? So you can see the complete execution log, and you can see the summary, right? So it went to the web page, and these are the key highlights, right? So design and build, camera system, performance, display, software, connectivity and safety. So all these key highlights it is providing as a summary. And overall the iPhone 17 Pro is positioned as a powerful device for both everyday users and professionals, offering cutting edge technology and features, right? And we also provided mention the tools you need to execute this task, right? So that is why it is giving tools used fetch underscore content. This tool was used to retrieve the content of the specified web page for summarization. So we have asked the agent to go to this web page and provide us the summary, and we have also asked the agent to let us know which tool the agent used to perform the task, right? So that is how you can provide a prompt, and the agent will decide depending on the user input which tool it has to use to execute the task, right? And now you can click on this close button. So let me zoom out. So if you see here, everywhere you can see the green, right? So here it took 510 milliseconds, 450 milliseconds, and this chat input is 748 milliseconds, right? And this agent took 19.61 seconds, and finally we got the output, right? So you will see this green everywhere, so that means it completed successfully, right? So what exactly we did here, we took a language model. So in our case we took OpenAI as our LLM, and then for this LLM we augmented the LLM with prompt, right? So we provided the user input, and we also provided access to these two tools, URL and calculator, and depending on the user input the agent decided which tool to use, whether calculator tool or URL tool, right? So let's try one more thing, as we provided calculator tool access to our LLM, right? So click on playground, and now let's give a math problem and see if our agent uses math tool to solve the task, okay? So this is the user input we are giving. You have 100 apples, you ate 2 apples, and your friend gave you 3 more apples. How many apples do you have now? Please provide the tool that you use to perform this task, right? And now click on send. So the agent is trying to execute the task, and you can see it finished, right? So you now have 101 apples after eating 2 apples and receiving 3 more from your friend. And the tool used is evaluate underscore expression. So this tool was used to perform the arithmetic calculation to determine the total number of apples, right? So depending on the user input, the agent is smart enough to pick the right tool and perform the task. So for non-programming background users, Langflow will be the best to use. As you can see what is happening visually, right? And if you notice, even in the code-based LangChain code, we did the same but programmatically, right? So if you see in our code, this is the LangChain project that we built. So this is where we are initializing our agent, right? So what we are doing here, to our agent, we are providing access to the LLM, tools and prompt. This is exactly what we did with Langflow as well. So the same thing we did in our code as well, but this is programmatic way by using LangChain, and Langflow is best for non-programming users. And in case if you want to change any code, you can click on code and edit the code as well. Okay. So with the Langflow you have UI representation, so you can see visually, but we did the same thing with LangChain as well using code. So we provided tools, LLM and prompt, and you can modify the prompt if you want, right? So for example, you can see the agent instruction here. So if you click here, you can see you are a helpful assistant that can use tools to answer questions and perform tasks, right? So if you want, you can edit this agent instruction as well. Okay. And the biggest advantage with Langflow is we can see everything visually, right? And it is easy to understand. So with this, we learn how to build a simple agent by using Langflow and how to provide different tools. So in our case, we provided URL and calculator tools to our agent so that the agent can perform different tasks depending on the user input. All right. Thank you.